Yeah, we are going to interview the Rev. The Rev is about to come on.
Oh.
Yeah.
Everyone, get your black metal fucking albums out. Turn the mood lighting down. Turn the lights off in the room. Get your fucking Ouija boards out. It's about to get evil up in this bitch.
Ladies and gentlemen, joining us right now, we have the Rev, the Reverend himself, Dan Wilson. He is with us. Let's get a round of applause. Not sure if you guys can hear that. I got the soundboard with him. So, Rev, how you doing, man? How you doing? How's everything in the world of the Rev?
It's been a very busy 2023, but I'm not complaining. It's been very exciting. Got to check off a few things on the bucket list. We main evented a GCW show. We fought for the GCW World Title. Featured numerous ICW shows this year, and then also the big one for me was I got to be a star in a horror movie.
Oh, dude.
Death of on Halloween. So
now I was gonna bring that up, and I didn't. I don't want to jump the gun, but like, the Death of single-handedly, got me in. Now I'm like all invested in Tremont and Cruel and the deathmatch world. I was more just like a WWE, watch New Japan and stuff, and now I'm like, I'm into it, man. I'm messaging this guy. I'm like, yo, this is what's Cruel up to. What's Tremont doing? So let me ask you about that. The Death of, man, that was awesome. Like a success on your guys' end, I'm assuming.
Yeah, absolutely. It's brought a lot of attention to the Coven of the Goat, and I just think it's already been very influential. And you see a lot of people like talking about trying to do their own cinematic horror stuff. And there's a line of that in wrestling. Like it can go into hokey territory very quick. Hell, I was worried that the Death of might be that, when it was first pitched to me. And, I'm thinking, oh God, are we going to end up on fucking wrestle crap? It ended up being a very cool thing. So I was just very proud of it.
Yeah, man, you guys should be. And I mean, the match was great. And I told Hairline, man, like, talk about making the most out of, like, I don't know. It just, the whole thing was cool. I was hook, line, and sinker. So speaking of horror, me and Hairline both love horror movies. You have a horror movie podcast, correct?
I do.
Excellent. And yeah, so tell us a bit about that. Like, you've always obviously been a horror fan, and like, what about that? Like, obviously it influences your gimmick, so what about horror? Like, why is that your thing? Why is that your cup of tea?
That is a long discussion. Probably it goes back to childhood.
Yeah.
Always been influenced by weird things that are not normal, the strange and unusual, if you will. I think my first exposure to any kind of horror as a kid was like discovering the making of the Thriller video. My aunt had it on.
Oh yeah.
I was immediately hooked on just like the imagination and the fact that it made all these people uncomfortable, that I was sitting around and like, I want to be able to do that. So like that stuck with me. And yeah, we do have a horror podcast. I co-host it with my wife, my childhood best friend Muji, and another longtime friend of mine, Grizz, Jason Griswold. And we watch a horror film. We kind of dig into the history of it. We talk about it. We are going on 18 seasons now of the Seeking Human.
Damn, good for you. Yeah, the Seeking Human Victims podcast. So PWT listeners, go check that shit out if you like horror.
Yeah, hell yeah.
What's your favorite?
I just signed up for the Patreon today, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What's your favorite like horror movie, like modern? And then what's your favorite classic, like what you grew up scared the shit out of you?
Well, the original Halloween is just always like the all-time favorite. That's so hard to beat.
Mm-hmm.
There's many that are contention with that. Like the original Nightmare on Elm Street had a big impact on me. I remember seeing that when I was I was homesick. I was supposed to go out with an outing with my friends as a kid, and I couldn't. So my mom let me stay up and watch Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh yeah,
the Genesis.
A lot of classics, but modern horror movies like House of a Thousand Corpses is my absolute favorite.
That one's great.
Oh yeah,
did that unapologetic.
Giant fucking Texas Chainsaw fucking homage.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
So, you're from Atlanta, Georgia?
No, actually, I am in the Chattanooga area. I lived for a while.
Okay. Is that Is that where you were like billed from for a while or something like that? Or
But I lived there for a few years. I worked for this company called NWA Wildside when I started
right.
wrestling, and I was an announcer. And like that was kind of where I got my break in wrestling and kind of first made any kind of splash. Like the big thing that everybody talks about that came from that is I came up with the Phenomenal One nickname for AJ Styles when I was on commentary.
You did that.
Yes.
Oh my! Wow, brava! We'll we'll drop him an applause.
You popped him.
You get a royalty for that or what?
No, I got you, dog. It's all good.
Hook me up with some tickets or something if I want.
Yeah, no, sometime. But well, I was just asking because there's a lot of like wrestling history down that way, and it's just like so horror, you love that, but you obviously love wrestling. Who were your influences, like wrestler wise and manager wise? Because you're a fucking tremendous manager.
Thank you. Yeah, my wrestling influences really. I got to shout out my great uncle, the late Gypsy Joe. He was like the first person that, like, I didn't really know much about wrestling when I was a kid. Like, small kid. I knew that I had a family member that was a wrestler. Whenever he would come around occasionally to like family gatherings, he was like this larger than life character. He was always tan, he was in good shape. Like everybody kind of flocked to him. So I was like, this guy is fucking cool. And then of course I started watching wrestling like during the Hulk Hogan era in the late 80s, and WCW in the early 90s was like hugely influential on me as a kid. And that's kind of what shaped me as a fan. But like that never really went away in terms of that fascination with it. So I kind of always just wanted to do it. As a manager, Jeff G. Bailey was my mentor as a manager. He's one of the greatest independent managers of all time. Definitely the greatest unsigned manager. He was AJ Styles' manager for a long time.
There you go.
Killing for a long time. He was a business manager. Like he managed all of these guys and like helped groom them for the big leagues in a big way. And so, getting to learn under him was hugely influential. Of course, everybody says Bobby Heenan and Jim Cornette. Like, of course, they're two of the greats of all time. But for like me, the biggest wrestling influence on the Reverend is Michael P.S. Hayes.
Oh, yeah, Daddy.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, there's some Kevin Sullivan. There's a little Jake the Snake thrown in there, but it's mainly Michael P.S. Hayes. It's a little Terry Funk. But like then there's a whole lot of characters outside of wrestling that kind of influenced the Rev. There's like King Diamond and the Crypt Keeper and Beetlejuice.
Oh, I love that.
And Otis Driftwood, and like there's just a wide range of, even like I would even say like Odorous from Guar kind of helped shape.
Yeah, oh yeah. So, Dave Brockie was a legend, man, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So speaking of like AJ Styles, he's been brought up a couple times. And just while on the topic of, you're talking about Hulk Hogan. So when it comes to WWE and AEW, do you stay up on that sort of stuff and the impacts and that sort of stuff? Are you like familiar with what they're doing, and do you try and keep up on that?
I do, generally, at least. Now, like sometimes, depending on how busy I am in the year, what else I got going on, sometimes that might just be scrolling GIFs on social media and kind of seeing what the big angles, what we're talking about. And sometimes I might flip over and actually watch the shows. But I do, like, as somebody active in the business, I feel like it's important. You got to keep up with what people are doing. So you're not like ripping it off, and so you're like to be different from what's out there. And B, just like so that you can stay contemporary with your peers and talk to them about what's going on.
Right. And so who, let's take WWE. Who's someone you see currently where you're like, oh, I would manage them in a fucking second, or if there is anyone.
Is there anyone?
Or AEW as well. Like anyone you see kind of in the mainstream or where you're like, oh yeah, I fucking work with them, or I like what they're doing right now.
Yeah, I would fucking love to get a hold of Abaddon as a
Yeah, oh yeah, that'd be great.
Oh, you guys together would be great, man.
Yeah.
Like, stories there that they could be telling that they're just ignoring. She needs someone who can like help with the presentation and everything. So yeah, that's one I feel like I could could be something.
That's really good. And yeah, I mean, not to, I agree with your last statement there. There's a lot of stories in AEW. I feel they leave on the fucking table, but that's neither here nor there. But we were talking about, like sort of, the death of and the reaction to that. So there's like a boom period in wrestling right now, right? Everyone's talking about it. Are you guys feeling that on the deathmatch side? Like IWTV's awesome, and all of these sort of things. So are you feeling that on the deathmatch side? Is there a boom going on as well? Like in that world?
As far as I can tell throughout the indies, it's pretty hot right now. I mean, we do a lot of deathmatch stuff, but we do other stuff.
I know. I'm a noob though. You gotta.
Yeah, I just got him into it.
I'm just getting into it, but yeah.
We were pretty heavily entrenched in like the southeastern indie wrestling world as well, and like that's it's a lot different than the deathmatch world, but
yeah.
Lot of different niches in wrestling, and if you don't make yourself accessible to a lot of them, then you're not gonna have a lot of work.
Right.
So that's really where we cut our teeth, was that southern style of wrestling. And so like the Coven of the Goat spawned from an old stable I used to manage called the Devil's Rejects, and we were like the hated heels. Like we looked like these church burning Norwegian black metal guys.
Fuck
Hell yeah.
In 2005, and they hated us. We've been around for so long. Now they love us. So it's kind of funny how they
So what's it like working with Tank?
He is like one of my best friends for 20 something years now. We've been working together for a long time. So we first became friends even before I started managing him. When I first broke into the business, there's a funny story. Before I even got into wrestling, he got into an altercation with my uncle, and Joe roughed him up. So I thought I met him the first time, he was going to be like, oh, I'm going to whip this guy's ass. But he was actually really cool. But I was really scared to meet him the first time. He was really cool. And as an announcer, like I end up in the office in Wildside and helped him get a tryout there, which ended up getting his spot, which launched his indie career. So like in like 2005, we kind of came up with this idea for me to start managing him and his partner Iceberg and a few other guys. And so I would turn heel and no longer be the babyface announcer. And that's kind of where the Reverend was born.
Nice.
And I've been managing off and on since 2005.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, I watched a couple of your guys' matches there. And Hairline, you got anything you want to ask the Rev here? I've just been rattling shit off here.
Yeah, no, you're good, man.
Excited,
yeah,
bro.
So,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're all good, man. It's adorable watching you mark out over the deathmatch shit. I've been trying to tell you this for months. Yeah. Anyways, man, fucking my boy, fucking tall man James, fucking deathmatch OG. He just had a question here, man. He wanted to say, with the history of the center stage in Atlanta, how was it working there with Tank?
Dude, bucket list moment. Like I watched probably every fucking episode of WCW Saturday Night that was filmed there. That was like my favorite wrestling show as a kid. And so like it was huge. Like we walked back in there, went in Dusty Rhodes' old office, and like I really took a moment to take it in, the history and the cool moment that we had there, and really tried to appreciate it. Just like walking out and looking up and seeing, I've seen numerous cool concerts, and there's been so much great wrestling. And like the backstage, you have all these like posters and shit of all the people that have been in there. It was a really first class experience.
Yeah, man, it's dope.
Yeah, that is incredible. So I guess we could ask you, what advice in this world where wrestling's so saturated, indie, deathmatch, you take your pick, mainstream, it's very saturated. What advice would you give someone like trying to break in? Like, what's the one thing you would be like, dude, this is what I didn't do, or this is what I did that paved the way? What's one advice you'd give to someone?
Don't be afraid of success. Don't be afraid to take big risks, because 9 times out of 10, if you're good, they pay off. And there was like, we had a lot of success for a lot of years in a lot of places, but we mostly hovered around one place for a while, then we'd move around to another, and we would stay busy. But around 2018, 2017, Tank and I both took a break from wrestling. We called it retirement at the time. Late Terry Funk would disagree with us.
Wrestling retirement. Yeah.
But we took some time off and we came back, and so we were like, let's just kind of bet on ourselves this time and like really go for it. And we went down to Tampa for Mania weekend in 2021 with really only one booking, but that ended up getting us like walked onto the ICW show that night because somebody didn't show up. And that pretty much put us back out there in front of the world, and we've just been rolling ever since. We kind of keep our home base at a place in Chattanooga called TWE. We're kind of heavily involved in helping the young wrestlers there and just trying to help the brand and you know, make it something cool. So yeah, I would say just for the young guys, like get out there, travel, meet people, like don't be afraid to go to shows, don't be afraid to hop in the car, even if you're not booked, to just go meet people and make friends, because it's fucking showbiz. And as much as it sucks, it's not just like how good you are, but it is who will vouch for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just like you said, man, WrestleMania weekend, someone fucking no shows, boom, you're there, you know, you're ready to rock. So I love that. So we won't keep you too much longer. I appreciate you so much. Just a couple more things. I did have one question written down, but I was like, oh, but I'm going to ask you, like deathmatch wrestling, to bring it back to that. Has there been ever a spot where you're like, dude, I see the gussets and shit and I'm like, oh, but have you ever seen a spot where you were just like, too much for me? Or are you pretty typically good with it all?
I'm fine to watch it. If it's happening to me, that's a different story. But no, I mean, the worst thing I've ever seen in a death match was the cruel injury from the Florida Halloween
shoulder. Yeah.
2021. That could have gone very south. And of course, I mean, it did. Like he did die on the other table and was possessed by the spirits and resurrected. We all know the story. But no. But yeah, that was pretty gnarly and pretty hard to watch. As far as like, you know, I'm not a big glass guy. Like, I understand that everybody loves it and it's like part of deathmatch wrestling, but like fire, it's just very unpredictable. And I'm fine with doing it, but I just think like you shouldn't get reckless with it. And I think guys get a little reckless with it at times.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. The fire sketches me out every time. I saw like Masada burn his face off or whatever not long ago, and I don't mean it's just like, oh my god, it just absolutely, you know, that horrified me, dude. That one scarred me. But I guess I just want to ask you, what do you have going on? What do you have coming up? What are you excited about? Do you have anything you want to plug? Anything you want to? Any Twitter handles? Your show? Anything like that?
Oh yeah.
God bless. Give you the floor. Take as much time as you want. Plug every little thing, every date you got coming up. The floor is yours, good sir.
Hell yeah. I'll give you guys the rest of our 2023. So yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Rev Dan Wilson, also on Instagram and Threads under that handle. We are now on TikTok at Coven of the Goat. You can see all the great Coven of the Goat content, from Tank to the newest member, the Moral Compass, Jaden Newman, to Nate Lowry, to CJ Lawler, who's going to be out of action for a while. He's on the mend currently after that bastard Shug D broke his ankle in a sneak attack. So
son of a bitch.
Well, he's going to pay.
He got his though. Yeah.
He's going to pay. Don't worry. He's going to pay dearly. We're going to make him bleed over that. We already messed up his little buddy's ankle, so we're going to get him.
Yeah.
But so the next big show we've got this weekend, tomorrow night, and it's my birthday too. So
happy birthday, Rev! Yeah,
yeah, fuck yeah, happy birthday, man.
Thank you. ICW No Holds Barred in Chattanooga, Tennessee, at the infamous TWE Arena.
That's
Friday night. I'll be managing the Bloodbath Behemoth Tank against Tommy Vendetta with NHL legend Darren McCarty.
Fuck yeah.
Good pal, so you know, hopefully everything stays professional. I don't really want to take those hockey hands, honestly, but you know, I'll put some juju on him if I got to. So we got that, and then I'll be managing Jaden Newman in a doubleheader. He is wrestling the new Killdozer, the resurrected from the dead. There was a little mishap with that spell on Halloween night, and he was supposed to die.
Yep.
And now a cruel thing. I don't know exactly what happened. Black magic is weird.
Yeah,
but
shit's going on.
But he's back from the dead as a cruel type monster called the Killdozer, and he's going to fight Jade Newman both in the pit on Friday night and the chains on Saturday, and then also on Saturday night, the Bloodbath Behemoth faces the pit bull Brett Ison in the chains. It's Coven of the Goat versus KOBK live on IWTV both Friday and Saturday, 8 o'clock p.m. Bell time. If you're not in Chattanooga, which you should be, because there's nothing like seeing a crazy deathmatch extravaganza live. But if you can't be there, watch it on IWTV. Then I will be with TWE Wrestling for the remainder of the year. We've got another big card coming up November 25th. That'll also be live on IWTV, and then another one on December 9th. And then we've got 2 no-ring hardcore shows called 423 Chaos coming up December 22nd and 23rd in Chattanooga, Tennessee at the Dark Roast. So you'll definitely want to come out for those. That's what I've got officially on the calendar. There is something at the end of the year where I might appear.
Okay.
Speak about that at the moment yet. So that's what I got going on. Be sure to subscribe to Seeking Human Victims. Follow One Good Scare Productions, OG Scare on Twitter. That's the production company that pumps the podcast out. And just follow me on social media for all my zany adventures. Oh, one more thing. I'm on Cameo now. So
Yeah.
to get the best.
Oh, shit.
You need to get a Rev Cameo, cameo.com/Rev Dan Wilson.
We're going to have to get one for the pod, man, for sure.
Yeah,
Rev, it was so fucking awesome having you here. We're going to plug all your shit in the descriptions. Everyone will know where to find you. We look forward to your busy schedule. Goddamn, I want to get down to that famous TWE arena and check out one of these shows one of these days. You sold the game, Daddy. This guy's money right here. Here we fucking go, man. I love it. I love it so much. Rev, ladies and gentlemen, the Rev Dan Wilson, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you so much. And you have an open door here, man. Anytime you want to come rock with us on PWT, you just let us know, doggy. You come right in.
Love to. Same. Let me know if you don't have me back. I'll be glad to come back.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah,
hey, the Rev Dan Wilson, everyone. Applause, round of applause. God bless you, sir.